Welcome back to my garden. Earlier this week, I received a very interesting email. One of the multitude of newsletters I'm subscribed to. And in this case, it was one of the chess-related emails by, I think it's called Chess Essentials. And it was an argument against growing materialism in the world of chess. Chess has exploded. I suppose it's always been a popular game, but something of a niche activity. But at least two things have catapulted it in terms of its attractiveness. One was the Queen's Gambit, and there's no underestimating what a fantastic role that did, given how popular the Netflix series was. But it came at exactly the right time, in as much as it started a little bit of a trend towards chess that was able to gather enormous strength over the period of COVID, because the lockdown was really heaven sent for driving people towards chess playing. It was an activity that could be performed from the comfort of your own lounge. And it was something that you could really dig deep into, given the amount of online resources that are available. And kind of coinciding with that whole movement has been steadily over the last few years, I suppose decades, the growth of streaming and online content creation has bled into the chess community. And what the Chess Essential newsletter was arguing was that this is a good thing, but in many cases it seems to be done very much with a materialist sort of philosophy underpinning it. The objective being monetary rather than chess. And of course, you understand, and it was a very well balanced, very long email, newsletter, blog post. But you understand where chess players are coming from, because for so long, making a living at chess was all but impossible for anyone outside, the world's top couple of dozen players. And what this online explosion has done has meant that there is more money to be made from developing courses that are appropriate for study on a numerous array of great chess platforms. And online coaching has really taken off as people have become comfortable with the idea of, amongst other reasons, people have become comfortable with the idea of sort of remote learning and remote meeting. So having a grandmaster chess coach who lives in Azerbaijan is no real problem. And of course, then there's streaming, and between YouTube and Twitch, things like that, there have been a sort of, I've used the word explosion a few times, but that's the word. There's just been an outpouring of different kinds of content. People showing you grandmaster games, people streaming their own playing, commentary, you name it. It's all going on. But very often, the sort of, when you dig into it, it's sort of sensationalist entertainment rather than maybe useful chess content. So the chess essentials was tucking into that thorny issue, and as a reference point, they drew a lot of ideas from a book about materialism, materialism in the sort of consumerism, written by an author, I believe his name's Tim Kessler. Interesting book. I haven't read it yet, but I will. I've looked at a few YouTube videos sort of discussing his ideas. I suspect the book has a lot of overlap with a very famous short animated film, The Story of Stuff, which I believe was a Greenpeace production. And one of the central ideas in The Story of Stuff is that the world produces far more than it actually needs. But it's a question of how it's distributed. If everyone was to live in the manner that sort of an average person somewhere in Africa or Asia or South America is accustomed to, we are producing more than enough in the world today. If everyone was to live the way someone in North America is accustomed to, we would need 4 planets to support that. And we unfortunately only have one. So that's one element of the problem with consumerism. But the article that I was reading also pointed another, that on a very measurable and scientifically measured, well, scientific in as much as the social sciences measure anything, it does seem that the more consumerist, the more materialistically you think, the less happy you are. Beyond a certain point, meeting material needs really doesn't make for a happier version of you. And of course, if I'm following on from last week's video, that shouldn't surprise us, because you are meeting those sort of what I was calling level 1, 2, and 3 needs fairly early on in the game. And then over satisfying those needs doesn't make you happier. Actually, it makes you more anxious, and it ties you into a way of living that prevents you, that takes up your time and energy, thereby preventing you from actually pursuing activities that would help you become self-actualized. And Chess Essentials sort of points out a very obvious point, that one of the problems with this idea of chess players thinking, well, to be a chess player, I need to be a professional chess player, and I can't make a living because almost nobody can, being a professional chess player. And actually, it's difficult to make a living being a professional chess coach. So I'll become a streamer and I'll produce meaningless content. Well, this isn't helping you self-actualize unless your drive was to make entertaining videos. But if your drive, the way you are going to truly express yourself, was engaging with chess on a deeper level, well, the question is, do you need to be professional at all? How about just having a job that meets your material needs, and then in the free time available to you, which may well be measured in a number of hours rather than 10-15 minutes grabbed when you can here or there, well, in that time you do something that deeply enriches your life and allows you to be the person you are truly meant to be. But this may require you to accept doing a job in a perfectly professional sort of way, but in a job on a more limited level, a less ambitious level, and consequently remunerated on a, dare I say it, lower level. And that's okay. One of the activities that will be core for my Master of Self-actualisation program is to actually take stock of how much you really earn, how much you really spend, so you have a kind of current account, and in a more long-term sort of macro perspective, how much do you need? Not just now, but if you view your life over a much longer time frame, taking into account perhaps education of children, or preparing for a moment when your health expenses might be higher or your earning potential might be lower. So those are all, I think, essential activities. You need to get a handle of what you're currently earning and what you need to earn. And the FIRE movement, which I've also spoken about some length on this channel, FIRE, financially independent, retire early, they really have shown, there's two sides, many sides to this debate, but a lot of these people have shown how possible it is to actually be financially independent very, very young. There's an interesting set of videos that I watched on YouTube once upon a time, of a chap, and he's fairly typical people in this area. He was in the sort of tech world, so it's not people very often in this movement do come from sort of professionally successful backgrounds. But he was at a point where he planned carefully for his escape, so to speak, from that professional world, institution-driven world. And he did so fairly early on, and he and his wife committed at that point to a life spent sailing around the world. And it seems to me a view to doing this indefinitely. Having enough savings that at least some income is generated, living debt-free, having limited earning potential. Perhaps they do things with tourists or guests on the boat, or instruction or whatever, but in general not actually making an enormous income, but not spending a lot, spending very, very little. So I watched that and many other videos like it, and I think, I'm not suggesting that you out there should plan on making a break for freedom from the 9-to-5 world. But I am suggesting that if you actually get to grips with where you are, financially speaking, where you want to be, or what you really need, and start cutting out the fat, you may find that you're in a much better place than you realized. And you also may find that, given that you're in a much better place, there is the potential for essentially reducing your time and energy commitment to what can broadly be described as work, and freeing up some of that time and energy for things that would be more self-actualizing. So that's what I've been thinking about the last couple of days. Love to hear your thoughts on the matter. As always, let me know what you think in the comments below. And otherwise, trust your lives are filled with joy. And from a sunny Brazil, until next week,